Spencer again with another little recipe. It is early in the morning on a Sunday. At least, okay, it's noon on a Sunday, but it's still breakfast time, so fuck it. Get this plate out of the way. Now, on this bright and lovely morning, we are going to be learning how to do biscuits from scratch. Now, what you're going to need: whole wheat flour, unbleached all-purpose flour, brown sugar, baking powder, and some salt, some canola oil, and some milk. Now first you're going to go ahead and start off with pouring out 3/4 cups of wheat flour, which I have already done, and the rest of it I'm going to go ahead and do with you, or so that you can see. We're going to go ahead and fill the rest of this. This is a 2-cup measuring cup. We're going to fill the rest of this with 1 1/4 cup total of unbleached all-purpose flour. Actually, should have probably rearranged the camera so you can see. Said it was morning. I wasn't kidding. Okay, and that looks good. Yes, we are doing sausage and biscuits this morning. Already got the sausage bubbling behind me, as you might be able to hear. Oh. Yeah, I'm running a little bit low on my unbleached all-purpose. Probably should grab some more next time I hit parts. See if that's good. Perfect. Okay. Now, go ahead. Grab a bowl for mixing. Groovy. And then we are going to grab ourselves a... Yeah, okay. And we're going to grab ourselves our spoon for mixing. Now I'll go ahead and get the flour out of the way. Now that we are done with that for now, just throw it over here. Okay. Yes, and we're going to use one of these spoons, one of my slightly smaller spoons, for measuring out tablespoons. Okay, go ahead and just pour the flour mixture into your bowl. Add 3 tablespoons baking powder. A little more, a little less is okay. Just try not to overdo it. Try not to overdo it drastically, too drastically. Make sure the camera aim is good here. Let's fuck it. Come on. Terribly sorry. Didn't get up that long ago. This is our 3rd tablespoon. If there is any confusion on that, go ahead and just drop that right on in. And now we are done with our baking powder, and I'm going to go ahead and flip the sausage so it doesn't burn. Yeah, so we have our pizza pan with a couple of layers of Bounty on it, paper towels on it to kind of soak up the grease once those are done. Alright, now 1 to 2 tablespoons of salt. And since I can't really measure this with the spoon, I'm just going to kind of do the most precise measurement available to the cook, which is the guesstimation. Generally where 1 tablespoon is. Actually, it's 1 teaspoon. 1 teaspoon is what it's supposed to be. Tablespoons baking soda, teaspoons salt. 1 teaspoon to 2 teaspoons salt. A little more. Okay. Good for salt. Go ahead, get our 2 tablespoons brown sugar. Call that 1. Call that 2. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and get our, let me check my recipe one more time, make sure I'm not going to overdo the oil here. Okay, I should learn to have a little bit more faith in myself. We're going to take 1/3 cup canola oil. And then we are going to add to that 1/3 cup to make 1 full cup 2/3 of a cup of milk. Do not stir it together, just let it sit. There we go. If you do a little bit more, you know, it's no major deal. Go ahead and take a spoon and go ahead and mix together your dry ingredients before throwing in your liquids. And you can use a spoon if you want to, you can use a whisk if you want to, but for the next part really a spoon is best. Whisk will just get messy really quickly. Okay, that is good. Now, make sure my angle's good still. Yes it is, okay. We're going to go ahead and add our oil and milk mixture to the bowl, but do it slow. The objective is to just try and get as much of just get the whole thing damp, because what we're making right now is actually a dough. And just kind of, you know, toss a little bit of flour on top of the water as it comes down, or the milk and oil mixture as it comes down. And go ahead and add the rest of it. There we go. Go ahead and get that together. Sorry if I'm not as wonderfully charming as I would normally be. This is, like I said, I just woke up. My humor tends to take an hour or two at least to kind of kick in. I think we're sitting here at the 45-minute mark. Okay. is if you have a nice clear surface that you can do this on, that is fantastic. If you are like me and you are forced to use a cutting board, no big shakes, it's alright. But the sausage is done, and I need to take care of that. Just kind of throw it out on here. No big shakes. Oh, sorry. Help me if you can, I'm feeling down. Please, please help me, help me, help me. Alright, now we're going to go ahead, and you notice I did not drain the oil out of the pan. That's because I might be using that oil in a little bit to make some gravy for the sausage and biscuits. But what you want to do is you want to take your cutting board or whatever your surface is. You can use just plain Jane old, get out there, wax paper if you want to. But what you really need to do is you need to take some of your unbleached all-purpose. Just kind of, reach on in there and just kind of spread a little bit over the top here. And this is so that when the dough, when you dump it out onto this, does not stick to the cutting board or to your surface. Okay, that should be more than enough. And just kind of make sure you spread it around. Just gonna go, just like so. And then we go ahead, we mix up our dough just a little bit more. Thing is, we do not want this to be too wet. We want this to be, kind of a crumbly consistency, but reasonably thick so that it'll stick well. Okay, I did turn the stovetop off. Okay. And then you want to go ahead and once you get it to that point to where it looks sort of like this, you can mix it a little bit more if you want to, but don't do it too much. Don't do it too much. You go ahead and you just kind of start emptying out the bowl emptying out the contents of your bowl onto this, onto your kneading surface. And just kind of dollops, it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. You'll pick stuff up as you begin the kneading. And what we're going to do here to get this dough into a much nicer, easier fashion to deal with, so that we can cut it and then it'll mix it a little bit more too. Sorry, I had a couple little wily pieces that wanted to get away from me, but they should know there is no escape. God damn. Come on. Come on. Now, when you finish this dough, I'm going to say this right now, put this on, is like whatever pan that you would normally use to cook biscuits from the store, from the little tube packets, go ahead and, do it on that same pan, but you want to do it, you want to preheat your oven to 450 degrees. And there is no set time for how long this should take, although it shouldn't take very long, so keep an eye on it. Each batch will have a slightly different consistency, and therefore will require a slightly different amount of time to cook, but it should be roughly in the 10 to 13 minute range. Now, I'm going to go ahead and move the bowl out of the way so you can see better, and I'll make sure you can see. Yes, you can. Okay. Now I'm just going to go ahead and what we're doing at this point is just kind of getting all the little bits that might have sort of, gotten, they might have escaped in the initial bit, and you're just gonna kind of roll it and knead it into a rough ball shape. Doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, if it was going to be perfect, I would not be doing it like this. But this is not a pizza dough, so it is not going to form a perfect ball, and it should be like somewhat smooth and everything like that. But it should be roughly like this. Okay, doesn't have to be perfect because we're not going to keep this shape for very long. Go ahead and squeeze the sides in a little bit so you have kind of a potato-ish look. And then we're going to go ahead and just flatten this out to about 1/2 inch thickness. And you'll see that it's, you know, it's still kind of crumbly and you still got little bits that aren't really in there all the way. What we're going to do is called the envelope method, which is where you take that one side like I just did, you take the other side, you do the same thing to it, and you just kind of press it out. Press it out, turn it sideways again. And what you do is you keep going with the envelope method of taking this side, folding it in, take the other side, fold it over that one, and then pressing it down until you get the consistency for the dough that you would like. Now usually for the last time I did this, it took me, I think, it was like 5 and 7 times of this envelope method, and you know, so it should give you plenty of time. I'm actually going to go ahead and raise this up a little bit so I can kind of respread some of my flour here. But it should give you will see how to do this envelope method pretty well. Go ahead and do it long ways just so that you can maybe see it from a different angle. But it's fairly basic. It's fairly basic. This is a technique that you use for pretty much every biscuit recipe that you would find normally. And you're seeing that it's not flaking off on the sides as much, and that's what we want. That's what we want. We want this thing to start developing a better consistency, a more smooth texture, a better consistency. And what this envelope method is doing is we're smoothing things out, we're mixing things in. Cough, cough, axe splatter. We are mixing things in a little bit so that it's just kind of, you know, it get the dough to a much easier point to work with to cut our biscuit shapes with. And I believe my pan is still in the washer thing. Dishwasher. Go ahead and do this again. The thing is, the best way that you know that you're starting to get there is like on the sides, you'll feel it start to crack and everything like that. Once you start feeling that a little bit less, you'll start feeling it less and less and less as you keep going. And you know, that'll let you know that you are making progress. But kind of thin it out to, you know, I think, what is this? It's about 1/2 inch or so. Well, maybe a little, give or take, you know. And that is how thick you want it when you are doing the envelope method. Else it'll just kind of fall apart on you. I think I'm going to do this about 2 or 3 more times. But like I said in my last video, which for some reason I can't remember what it was on. The entire progress from start to finish, I am not worried about my reputation because I don't really have one. So you know, I am not worried about you thinking that I'm the world's most professional or best cook. I mean, I'm not gonna sit there and like see a roach on the wall or something like that and just fucking falcon punch the shit out of it and then go right back to this. But I am not a professional. I am an amateur. I am an amateur enthusiast, I believe would be the technical way of saying it. And now we're starting to see a little bit, a little bit less pocketing in the dough. We're starting to see, a little bit, we're starting to get that kind of oily texture on it, which is right at what we want. And this pressure helps to kind of, release the air in the dough. Sorry. It helps to release the pressure in the dough, the air in the dough, and like I said, help mix it out and make it easier to work with. And what you're looking for is a not perfectly smooth texture, but something reasonably smooth. Because the thing is, these are going to flake, and this is a somewhat dry biscuit. Last time I did Logan bread, that's right. And as with the Logan bread, I will go ahead and I will give you, I'll show you pictures and stuff like that afterwards so that you can see generally what it's supposed to look like. This is, as a general rule for cooking, if it looks like it's staring at you, then you probably fucked up. And there's a story associated behind that. There is a story behind that for another date. Actually, you know what, fuck it, I can tell it right now because I still got a couple more folds to do because this is taking a lot more than I thought it would. But the story that I am thinking of actually originates in Dallas. The last time I lived there, which was a couple of years ago now. And I was with my dad, and we were at this curry restaurant. It was a vegetarian cuisine Indian restaurant, and we had been conned into going there by a vegetarian, damn hippie. And so what ended up happening was I ended up having to get my standard. God, do I really have to? Curry. I'm just not a fan of anything about curry. And this thing had these big black dots in it that looked just like spider eyes. And I swear to God, the entire meal, when they brought that thing out, I didn't even eat it. I stared at it for about 5 to 10 minutes because I could swear that this thing was staring right back at me. I mean, I was sitting there kind of like expecting it to start growling, or if I poked it with a fork to like just try and like latch onto my throat or something. Which is kind of, it's a comic idea if you've ever seen a curry. It was unsettling, okay? I guess that's about the best way to put it. It was just unsettling. And so it's like, I was sitting there, and it's like, I'd played way too much StarCraft as it was. So, I was already kind of sitting there kind of going, dude, I don't know about this shit. One second, I'm gonna check the recipe. It should not be taking this long. Hey, can you bring up my Microsoft Word? Okay, this is just taking longer than it did last time. That's alright. But no, I was sitting there with a knife in my hand under the table at a vegetarian restaurant, hoping that I did not have to live through Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, but with curry. 'Cause I swear to God, man, that thing looked like a fucking monster. I thought it was gonna I was waiting for it to do something. That's why I had the knife in my hand, because I wanted to be able to defend myself. Okay, now what you want to do is I'm going to go ahead and call this close enough. Spread it out to about a half-inch thickness all the way, and just kind of, you can sort of, you can eye it, you can eyeball it from the side and bottom. And I'm going to go ahead and take out my pan here so that I can transfer these. Now you want to do is you want to try and find a roughly 2-inch circle to cut. If you can't find a normal cut, then you know what? Fuck it, just cut it into squares. It's a biscuit, who cares? Still eats, right? At least in theory. Now what we're going to go ahead and do is, this is actually the lid of a masonry jar that I happen to have lying around. We're just going to press it in like so. We're going to kind of tear the side of the dough away since we've got a decent cut, and then this is what your result is, a almost perfect biscuit shape. We're going to lay this in our pan, and we're going to take our thumb, and we're just going to press down in the center of it. Now what this does is, like, it doesn't have to be like, fucking dive, no, like it's just, it's an indent in the top so that you can so it's to help the biscuit rise more evenly. And another thing you can do is, rather than cutting it out just pure straight simple, you can just kind of do a little bit of an indentation, kind of get a general idea of where you want your biscuits to be, and just kind of, gently press down. And if they're a little bit oblong, you know what, who cares? Who cares? I mean, it is good traditional Southern cooking. And if you have somebody who has a problem with that, you probably shouldn't be cooking for them in the first place. Go ahead, do our indent. Do the rest of the cut. And kind of go over here with that one. And this recipe should make a reasonable amount. Should make a reasonable amount of biscuit. I would say probably between 6 and 7, but we'll know for sure when I we'll know for sure when I actually finish filling up the pan. So far we have 4 indents are good. Now we're going to go ahead and take the rest of it that has, not been cut yet. We're just going to kind of dab around, gather all the pieces that didn't get there first time, and we're going to smash it back into a ball. And we are going to take said ball, we're going to do the potato thing again, and then we're just going to spread it out. Spread it out, make it easy to work with, and get it to that 1/2 inch thickness. I'm trying to spread it out here so I can get 2 cuts off of this, because the more times you do this part of kind of folding it from the cuts, the more inconsistent your texture will be on the biscuits themselves. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that, peel away, get you, and throw you down for 5. And we're going to go ahead and go that for 6. And the thing is, depending on how thin you make it, you will get more or less. Last time I did this, I think I actually had a full pan, which makes me think I probably didn't thin these things out as much as I probably should have, because I have about one less than I should. And this last biscuit is going to be a little bit odd. It's going to be kind of thin, everything like that. Just whatcha. Okay, this time we got 7 biscuits out of it, which is, you know, it's fine. It's perfectly acceptable. As losses go, that much dough is not a big deal. Go ahead and throw this down in the pan. Put our little indent in it. And pretty much, actually, I'm going to move this back just a tidge. And you do want to leave some kind of spacing on the pan between the biscuits. It doesn't have to be, you know, extreme. But go ahead, just make sure they're all indented in the center so that the sides of the biscuits rise evenly. And what the flavor of this biscuit will be is more of a, it's a much, it's not really like a buttermilk biscuit. It's much more, it's a more crumbly biscuit, more crumbly type of bread. And last time I did it, I thought it was fucking awesome, and so did the people I was cooking it for, or the person I was cooking it for, because I was one of the people I was cooking it for. But other than me, someone actually did like this, so shut up. Okay, now our biscuits are in the pan are ready. I'm going to go ahead and preheat my oven to a degree of 450 degrees. And then I'm going to go ahead and toss this dough in the trash because we just don't fucking need it. And move this out of the way. Now put this over here so I can kind of get at things over here. I will resume this, actually, you know, I'll show you how to make gravy on another day. I will go ahead and wash the grease off my hands real quick so that I don't get grease all over the camera. And I'll go ahead and post up a couple of pictures at the end of this video, again with all the ingredients and all the cooking instructions written in the description at below the video, written in the description. And, you know, keep posted. My next video is I'm making spice burgers tonight, and you can learn how if you desire. I have heard that they are the best burgers you can make, and they taste actually very, very similar to something you get at a really, really ritzy joint like Perry's or something like that in Dallas. It is, basically what I'm trying to tell you is it's really fucking good and you should totally try it out. But for now, thank you very much. This has been Spencer with teaching you how to make biscuits. Thank you very much. Signing off.